Welcome to the show. After an ANZ Championship round that saw the Steel's chances of playoff action take a backward step, going down to the Pulse, who have found their stride in the nick of time. Elsewhere, the upsets continue, with the Swifts getting tipped over at home and the Fever notching up a second win in succession. The Tactics pushed the Mystics closer than many thought, but that's the nature of the competition in 2014.
It was pretty tight and intense, particularly in those early stages. And it did come down to who was going to break first, because both teams were treasuring possession really well.
Going into the changing rooms, there was still an air of confidence, and the fact that we did let that 4 goals lead slip, but we knew the adjustments that we had to make going back into that second half, and we knew that whatever intensity they came out with in that first half, they were going to step it up for that second half, so we were prepared for that. Just unfortunately, like you say, those stumbles and those little crumbs went their way instead of ours.
It's just neat to hit it in the end of that third quarter, but still within grasp at that point.
Yeah, I think so. We're only 3 down in that going into that last quarter, and that's only 1 turnover. And yeah, unfortunately, we just got more pressure put onto us and did some things that we don't normally do, like Janine said.
There was some incredibly brave feeds going into Jay. It was beautiful to watch. You obviously felt very confident out there. It was a strong performance.
Yeah, I mean, we had the ability, I don't think Poss often dropped 2 back on her, so we had the ability to feed it in one-on-one, and we know that Jay is a great strong taker of the ball. I guess it's not a surprise for us because we see it week in and week out at training, and we know what she can do and what she can take, and so it builds the confidence for us to be able to do it on the game.
Philippa tough tonight. She looked not 100% mobile, but she toughs it out.
Yeah, she did, and I think she knows what she's capable of. She's pretty experienced, and she's looked after herself over the last week to get herself back in again.
What would you do differently, Janine, if you replayed that game? Is there something you think you could have said that would have changed that?
Look, there's always lots of things you think of afterwards, but I think going into it, we did all the right things, we had the right plan, and for probably 55 minutes of the game, we executed it really well. And I think potentially, and under pressure in the last couple of minutes, there was some stuff that they were doing that we needed to react a little bit differently to, and maybe play a little bit differently to, instead of forcing things. At times I think we did get into that pressure of forcing it, and maybe we should have actually highlighted it a little bit more so that maybe those calls would have come our way.
I guess the thing with us is that when we lose a turnover, it's really hard to get one back, and especially off a Robin coached side, that we know that gives little turnovers away. So it's I was just reflecting after the game, and I think defensively, we, like you said, we did hold them up, but we're just not getting those turnovers. And I think all it took, what it was going to take, was one person to come out and get an intercept, and that really spurs the team on, and someone to be a hero, so to speak, and do that. And I think, it's just unfortunate that we weren't able to get one. Like Janine said, for 55 minutes of that game, we put them under pressure, especially in our attacking end. They had no answers for Janelle, and they had no answers for the outside of us. We attacked the circle edge really well. Both Philippa and Shannon got onto the circle edge. And so I think attacking-wise, we really put the pressure on. It's just making sure that when we get over, we help the defence end, and it's not just them getting the ball, it's us as well.
You're certainly under pressure at this level. You do need to know how to close them out, and it's the cunning, smart things that you can do, and I think we have that capability. We just don't execute it as well as we can.
Now, I've done some research. You can lose 5 games and still make this final.
Yeah.
It's happened two times at least. So, and the way everyone's beating everyone, door not closed yet.
Oh, absolutely. And for us, it's I think it's just about game at a time and putting it out there. And we've got to regroup, we've got to debrief, we've got to then pre-brief, and we've really got to take it to the Tactics next Monday night.
I think if we can work really hard on our defence and really help our defence end to generate turnover ball, I think attacking end, we're getting to that sorted stage. We just have to do a little bit of fine-tuning, and like you said, we have to basically win all games final from now on, and then hopefully some other teams might do us some favours as well.
I think right from the beginning I could see that we had to absorb the pressure. There was a lot of physical contact out there. There's huge numbers of, on our statistics that we've been given, of contacts and whatever. So you just have to absorb it and try and fix up your own contacts and penalties, which we talked about. And persisted and be patient. And that was what won it for us. The persistence certainly won it, because we got a 2 at the top of the circle in the last quarter. and we were patient with the ball on attack, and it was really what happened.
We kind of felt like we did have control of the game. Just we have the confidence in each other to know that we could pull away. And in that fourth quarter, I think we showed that, you know, we are the team that was better on the day, and our attackers were incredibly patient. And it's so hard to get ball off the steal. So any ball we did get, they treasured it and treasured it well. And yeah, it's pretty good to see.
Around about half time, you must have been thinking, how are we going to stop the feed? Because they were very accurate at that point.
Yes, they were. It's
They
tough.
got tired though.
Yeah.
And so that when they lost their accuracy, and that always happens when you're doing the same thing all day, and suddenly you get quite bored with it.
You're just going to make a mistake of numbers, yeah.
And our outside D, Eli and Jolene, put a lot of pressure on those mid-quarters, and I think they just wore them down, and it meant that Hu and I could get in the circle and try and get the little off ball that weren't so accurate, which is helpful. Netball at the moment, especially this season, there's a lot of aggro, there's a lot of contact, and it's just getting a little bit more physical, and it's pretty much who can keep their heads the most, really, and try and, you know, we definitely don't go out there and aim to be dirty or contact and things. It's just how the way the game's gone, and we just need to kind of get above it and try and be as clean as possible.
And we work on technique, and we talk about technique, and you know, if Jonathan says you're doing that with your shoulder, take heed and don't do it. And even if you think you might be not doing it, if he said that, get your hands down and make sure that you're not going to bring them into the game, because there are a lot of penalties out there tonight.
That leg going to come right in a couple of weeks?
It's Donna, of course it will. Yeah, she's tough.
We've already stopped talking about it. It's over. She can talk to the physio. We're fine. She'll be fine.
You know, we did have a bit of a hiccup there in the middle of the season so far, and we've come through and won 2 games and won them well, but the girls have worked extremely hard over the last few weeks, and this bye has come at a perfect time, and it's quite nice. It's coming Easter weekend, meaning we can spend some time with family and friends and just have a break from each other and just from netball in general, and come back refreshed and keep going.
And in a nice position in the table, Robin.
Yeah, where are we?
We're 4th.
Right.
3rd equal, but our goal differential is not so flash, so that 4th and top 4 is pretty good.
I always said that the team of champions doesn't make a champion team, and I think Hamish Bidwell wrote a bit about it today, that they're really finely tuned athletes, and they've got to fit in with one another, and they have their own style and manner of playing and their own brilliance, and you know, that makes them individuals, but those individuals have to sort of merge to become a team, and I think that's what's happened, especially with Donna and Irene. That's clicked now, hasn't it? They've persevered, they've talked it, and we've talked about slowing it down and eye contact and things, and I think they've come up brilliantly. I really admire Irene for, you know, because Donna's a fast player and she wants to stride in here and like, where do I go? Well, it seems to have really clicked now.
Is there a tougher player to defend at the moment, Janelle, Katrina?
It's interesting to say that, because she's just tall though. It's very difficult when you come up. Like, I think I'm one of the shortest goalkeepers in the league, and it's just every week you're coming up against tall players week in, week out, and it does get a little bit, I'm just going to say, it does get a little bit boring after a while, and it is tough. I feel like I'm getting too short, so I need to move out of the circle eventually. But she's tough in the sense just because she's tall.
She's the biggest and tallest we play against.
But there's some great, skillful netballers out there who are a lot harder to play against, but she's just
got strength. She's got strength in her legs, and she's got big long arms, and they're strong too. So it's really, it's really hard. I don't know how they do it.
And when they pinpoint that pass to her, it's pretty darn hard to get. But anything you do get, you definitely have to score off.
The win by the Pulse puts them tenuously in 4th place, and hoping results in the bye week leave them in a playoff spot. The Magic and Swifts have games in hand to enjoy a cushion from the challenges below. The Fever resurrected their hopes over the past couple of rounds, unlike the Thunderbirds, who need to bounce back from the bye with alacrity. The Firebirds and all the teams below need to win every week hereafter, with assistance from other results.